Hello and welcome, it's Adam from betterproposals.io here, and we're back with the third installment of Proposal Breakdown. Now in this episode what we're going to be doing is breaking down the proposal of a video production project from Silver Lining Productions. Now there are Better Proposals user and customer, so it's a little bit different to the previous two where I just found two random proposals. So first things first, let's just dive straight in. The cover looks really smart, and this is something that you'll find with Better Proposals is that the covers look amazing. The clever thing about what they've started to do here is they've started to build on the relevancy right from the off, which is a really important thing. So one of the things you really want to be doing with your proposals is making people feel like you're the right choice, and that's what they've really started doing with the cover here. So this is to shoot several interview style videos, similar sort of setup to this, I guess, or multiple cameras and things like that. And that's exactly the background picture they've got in the cover. So they're already starting to build that relevancy. Really good start. So next you jump into the introduction. So my first piece of critiquing here is in the content of the introduction. Now, what Rob's done is very good. He's explained what to do next, i.e. click on the different tabs on the left and you can explore the proposal. Good stuff. But what he kind of misses out on, I think an awful lot of people do this when they're writing proposals, is they don't write the introduction by restating the reasons behind the purchase in the first place. So you were in the meeting, you know what the point of the project is, they know what the point of the project is, but it just solidifies things a lot more when you can really just restate that back to them and remind them, especially if it's been 4, 5, 6 days before reading the proposal and getting it to them. It really helps to then just restate exactly why they wanted to do that. You wanted to do this project because you wanted more leads, because you want to build your online brand, whatever it is. Restate it back to them in their own words, and you will find that the relevancy of the proposal goes up. So moving on, looking at the navigation, everything looks really organized. Everything's in a sequential order. They've got the shoot, the edit, the workflow, example work, pricing, sign off, that kind of thing. So it's in a really nice order. It's in an easy to understand format and it looks organized. So diving into the shoot, this is a really cool way of doing this, by the way, splitting up into shoot and edit. It's a splitting up two main functions, but the components are very different. So the shoot very much involves them. The edit very much involves how the whole thing is going to look in the end. So it's quite a cool way of doing that. So I think in the shoot, there's a lot of unneeded copy. I think if I was being super critical, which is the whole point of these videos in the first place, I would say there's an awful lot of stuff that isn't really needed in there. I mean, they've got things like booking times of studios and things like that, which to be honest, might be a bit of a deterrent. So anything that's seen as a little bit of a deterrent, maybe just get it out. Other than that, options on the backdrop are really cool. I like that. It takes a little bit of control and a little bit of like, don't worry about it, leave it to us. It's, we're the experts, we'll sort all that out. So that's really good. Moving on to the edit. By the way, these images are really cool. It's a really nice way of sort of breaking the whole thing down and just invites you into, invites people into your world, which is a really nice way of doing things in a very cool way. And apart from anything else, it's more visually appealing. It looks nicer. If you've watched any of the previous videos, you'll know that some of the stuff we've been working with has not been visually very impressive. This visually looks really smart. And to be honest, based on what they actually do for a living, the visual component is actually very important. So they're being judged on that as well. One thing I do want to make a very subtle point of, and this probably was not by design, but video editing in this day and age, especially with the fact that you can do things on your iPhone and iPad and everything else to a fairly decent standard as well, video editing as a skill has been very dumbed down because more people can do it. So the fact that they've got the the screenshot in here of Premiere of all these different layers and all these different components makes the whole edit part look a lot more complicated again, which is actually something that's going to really help them, I think, in the long run. The workflow, I think, is a really good thing. The only thing I would say is I didn't really understand initially what the different these different brackets are. I think now I understand it. It's responsibilities. It's who's doing what, and that's a really cool thing to do. The only thing I would say is that I think this whole process can be an awful lot simpler. It could look a lot simpler. So if you are going to write up a list of responsibilities, I would definitely use like, color coordinate them a little bit more maybe, so they can sort of see exactly what their bits are. But I think he's merged responsibilities and process or workflow into the same thing, which maybe is where some of the confusion is. But the idea is really good. I just think maybe there's a little bit too much detail in there about sort of how to name files and things like that when supplying sort of pictures and things like that for the actual edit. So is it something they need to be concerned with now? Maybe not. It's good to put it in there, but it's more training or maybe more after sales stuff, and sits somewhere between, yes, we want to go ahead and the first shoot. Example work, can't fault this at all. This is absolutely brilliant. They've embedded the videos, which is very, very smart, so people aren't jumping off to YouTube getting distracted. They've embedded them, which is cool. They haven't gone mad with the amount of them. It's really easy to do when you've done a lot of good work to just hammer these things in. No one's going to watch all of them. So just picking 3 was a very, very good way to do it. Yeah, can't say enough about that. That's absolutely perfect. The only thing maybe I might be tempted to do, and to be fair, it's probably overkill on a project of this size, but if it was maybe sort of 3 or 4 grand's worth, I might be tempted to include a case study as well as a show reel on an actual project that was similar to the existing one, but can't fault it. Okay, pricing. I've gone on record to say I'm not a massive fan of the day rate thing, but that's how this industry works, it seems, so can't really fault that too much. Now, there's a little bit of confusion here because they've got in here a mandatory setup fee of £300, which gets them a bunch of different things which they're going to need. So it's fine to include it, but I think the pricing page is the wrong place to tell them about that. It's cool to mention it there, but I think it needed to be mentioned either, I would put it in the edit section. It's logos, it's little title tags and things that appears all over the screen and stuff like that. So the things that they need. So I would probably put that in the edit and then reference it in the pricing. Yeah, there's a random interview at the bottom, including one of the guys that this proposal's for. Now, I don't know if this is genius or a really bad move. The guy was there, he knew, he was actually in the video. So this is probably quite good because it's reminding him of that day. So as long as that day went well, I think this is a really good move. But it's purely dependent on that and what his experience was. So payment terms is awesome, really nice and clear. And sign off, absolutely brilliant. Done it electronically, which is fantastic, which you can obviously do in Better Proposals as well. In summary, it's an absolutely brilliant proposal for what it is. It's very, very clear. A little bit too much detail in a couple of cases, but other than that, it's absolutely spot on. So, yeah, that's my review of Silver Lining Productions' proposal today. If you want to get yours in, just send it straight through to adam@betterproposals.io and I'll get yours in the queue and get it reviewed. Take care. See you later.